hear it that the sales is not happening. And my question is, have you created the system for sales? The answer is no. And now this is not only applicable for the individual, this is applicable for the organizations also. Do we agree? If organization have an identity, that needs to be changed if organization needs to attain the 10x growth. Today topic is 3 hidden steps to 10x growth. Now we have been discussing about 10x for the last couple of weeks, and I'm also doing a 2-hour master reset class on Saturday to take it even further for everyone who is interested in the 10x growth in 2026. And in the earlier webinars, I've covered what exactly is 10x. It's just not the revenue, it's just not the literal 10x meaning. What 10x mean here is having a plan, having a goal which you have not attempted earlier, something big goal for which you need bigger action to do. Let's get started. Now, I want all of you to think about what is the current impact you're making in your career, in your role. It could be revenue, it could be making teams, it could be creating a culture, whatever you are creating, think about it. Take 20 seconds. You can think in mind, or if you have a paper and notebook, you can note it there. If you want to share, you can put it on chat also. So what is the current impact you're making right now? So it could be one of these: the revenue, the culture, making a product, building a team, making a new solution, or it could be something else also. Ryan, you says managing a team and portfolio of pan-India group insurance claims, handling annual volume of 7,500 claims in all. Thank you for sharing that, Narayan. So now let's move to the right-hand side. Now, what is the identity? Now, I'm not talking about role, so don't think about the role you're playing. What is the identity? Identity means it could be a hustler, it could be an expert, it could be a solo individual contributor, it could be someone who connects the people, it could be someone who is a visionary. What is your identity which is enabling you to make the impact which you thought earlier? Take 20 seconds, think about it. Don't think about the role. Don't say, in my role of a director, we are not talking about roles here. We are talking about identity here. Is your identity of a hustler or a expert or a doer or a visionary or a connector? So now what you all have reflected on, what's the current impact you're making and what's your current identity which is enabling that impact. Now, this is your current impact which you're making today. Now, here this impact is not random. It's coming from whatever identity you have formed over last several years or several decades of working. Now, identity quickly here is your value, your beliefs, your experience, how you have been brought up, your culture, everything based on which you have formed some systems. And systems could be internal, external, we'll come on it. System could be how you make a decision. System could be if you've got a challenge, do you try to solve it yourself or do you take help from others? That is what the systems we are talking about here. And that system then define the current impact. So your current impact is dependent on the systems you have created internally, externally, and the identity which you have created. Now, the big question is what identity you have today. So let's say you pick identity of system SME or expert or a hustler. Is that going to get you to your 10x growth? So identity that got you here, is that going to get you to your 10x impact also? Think about it.
No, it will not take you anywhere. See, I'm actually feeling what you call a bit stuck.
Thanks for sharing that, Narayan. So, yes, the identity that got you here won't get you there, and there is the 10x what we are talking about. Again, coming to the thought, your identity which you have formed, and based on which you have formed your systems. Systems could be how you make a decision. All of it is getting disrupted today, and it's happening today. We are not talking about future. Future, it will only increase. So then, what needs to be done? Now, there are 3 ways for all of us to handle this disruption or to reach to the 10x. Now, I have been through this journey for last 8-10 years, moving on to entrepreneurship, setting up my own practice, and I've also worked with more than 800 leaders. And what I have observed that in such scenario, it could be a disruption or it could be a movement of an elevation. So let's say you're moving from a director role to a VP role, or you're moving from a VP role to a CXO role. There are 3 scenarios. First scenario is you continue working with your current identity. We see it all the time. Someone get promoted from an architect to a manager. He or she continue working in an architect identity. Do we all agree? An engineer, a corporate manager moves to entrepreneurship, but his or her identity does not change. He still continue to work like a corporate employee. That's the first scenario. Now, each of us can choose that, okay, My identity is to work hard. I'm a hustler. I'll work even harder to manage this disruption. We all know that's not going to work. That's a case of where we are sticking with the current identity what we have. Second scenario, taking the example of Gen AI, I say that I'll try to use Gen AI even more to do the things faster, but I'll be doing the same thing. So if I have been making the reports, I'll use Gen AI to make the reports even faster. Now, we have made some movements. However, the challenge here is that it will only give you an edge for a very shorter time because that advantage is with everyone. You can use Gen AI, I can use Gen AI. So again, in some time, your advantage is not going to stay there. It's not going to get to the 10x. The third scenario is where you say, I'm going to look a different way on how I can do things for 10x. Let me give an example. If today I am an architect, I'm going to move to a visionary role where I can define the vision for next 5 years, what could be done. I'll take the help of Gen AI. I'll make my connections. I'll work with different partners. I'll create a future. Now that's an identity shift plus the system shift also. So let me ask you all, is changing identity and changing internal system easy or is it tough? Rajesh, Anjali, you would like to share something? You would like to ask something?
I agree with you, Chetan. It's not so easy to change from your current identity. It takes a lot of
Yeah.
discipline, lot of mindset change, lot of things.
Thanks, Raghu. It's not easy. And let's decode why it's not easy. So, identity has three traps, broadly three traps. First is the competency. We all have reached some state of success, right? And we all feel competent about it that, okay, I've reached this state because I know these 10 things. My strategy has worked so far, and that does not allow me to come out of my identity because coming out of that identity, I'll have to take risks. I'll have to learn new things. And it's not easy. Our mind does not allow us to do that very easily. We are in the comfort zone that what I have been doing so far, I have been success, whatever way I am today. And my comfort zone keep me in that zone. So these are the traps which keep us in the current identity. Do not let us come out of the current identity, especially so towards the 10x. Because for the 10x, for the massive goals, we have to take massive action and there would be some risk. We'll have to learn new things. We will fail. So all of these stop us from changing identity. Now, identity is fine. The second step, the system, what we were talking about. So fine, I am shifting my identity that, okay, I've been hustler, but now I'll use Gen AI to do my things faster. Now, a little shift because what's happening here, I'm not changing my internal system. I'm still trying to do things myself with a tool. That's the only difference. So let me pick an example which will resonate with the corporate leaders also and someone who is doing his or her venture also. Now, if my system is that work comes to me, I do it, right? And I want to continue doing it, I'll not get to 10x. Do we all agree? For getting to 10x, I have to create the work for me. I have to make myself visible. I have to tell people this is what value I can create. Do we all agree? And that's the internal system change. We work with so many leaders, we work with so many entrepreneurs, we hear it that the sales is not happening. And my question is, have you created the system for sales? The answer is no. What we are doing, we are sitting, we are waiting for someone to give us work so that we can execute. We are still in the doer mindset, identity and system. We have not transitioned to a entrepreneur identity and system, right? We are stuck there. The third is to actually get to the 10x, we have to change identity. We have to change the internal system. How do I think? How do I take decision? How do I interact with people? How do I make my partners? How do I create my ecosystem? I need to start thinking about it and then start making the external systems also. So let's move there. So now summarizing all three hidden steps for the 10x growth. So first one is the identity, changing the identity. And we've all seen why is it so difficult, why it's not easy. Second is the internal system. How do I take decision? How do I delegate? How do I build my team? How do I make the partners? How do I plan for my future? All of this start from the internal system first. And then we move to the external systems where I start making changes in my external system. So I'll take my example when around 7 years back, I moved from a corporate career to entrepreneurship. I thought that I have the knowledge, I have the skill, I work in best of the organization in the world, I'll get the work. So my identity was still of an employee, right? I was still waiting for someone to get me the work to come to me. It did not work. And it took me 6 years. It took me 6 years to realize that I was still operating in the original identity of a corporate employee. My internal systems of doing the work, not creating the work, was still legacy. And I have not built the external systems. I have not built a partnership. I have not built my identity. I have not built my brand. To take few examples to get to the 10x. And I've worked with 800 plus leaders, seen the same patterns, and that's what my mission in 2026 is, to help as many professionals, entrepreneurs I can help so that they can cover this journey not in 6 years, maybe in 1 year. So that's what my mission for 2026 is, and that's why we are doing this. The first, again, to summarize, the first step is the identity, then is the internal system, and then is the external system design. Now, let me ask you one thing, all of you. Typically, when we talk about that, okay, we have to increase our revenue, or we have to increase our profit, or we have to get 10x growth, where do we typically start from? Do we start from identity or internal system, or we directly start from the external system?
External system. We want some promotions, something to look for.
Are actually going build together. Just first to identify it, like it is something like we do have.
Raghu, you're right. We start with the external systems, right? What process needs to be changed? And Narayan, we can't hear you. There's some voice cracking. So do you want to repeat?
This is something more akin to what do you like to have? As they say in we do have. So first, what do you like to have? Then okay, you do things according. Who is what systems? Being is identity. So identify what you like to have and what systems you can actually build. You sort of to have the those experiences. So it's something like identity and then system and then impact.
That is how it should be, Narayan. You're right. However, what we have seen, if we have to increase our sales, will typically, many of the cases will start with the external system design change. So, and I've seen it in so many transformation, digital transformation, we focus. So if being does not change, then doing does not change. It's very easy to do, but it's very difficult to be someone, right? And that's what the identity is here. The challenge is we see transformations, we see so many changes failing because the whole focus sometimes is only on the external system design. We are not working on identity and the internal system. And now this is not only applicable for the individual, this is applicable for the organizations also. Do we agree? If organization have an identity, that needs to be changed if organization needs to attain the 10x growth. So this is same model apply for our organization also. And I've worked with the corporate leaders, I've worked with the startup founders, I've seen these challenges at the both side. I've worked with the founders who are able to scale their venture, but they are not able to get more sales because they have not built the sales system. So there are a lot of examples when even the organizations are getting stuck in the current growth level, whatever that is, but not able to get beyond that. So important for individuals, important for organizations also. This is the 3 hidden steps. And on Saturday, 11 a.m., we will go even further. That's for 2 hours. So this is only the awareness part of it, that, okay, what really we need to work on to get to the 10x growth, whatever that means for you. I'll let you all define that. On Saturday, we'll go even further. We'll work with all of you, and that session will not be recorded. We'll work with all the participants on diagnosing what is the one identity or mental model which is costing them 10x growth. And we'll also work on identifying what are the systems gap, internal system, and then also look at a little bit on the external system. Again, it is more about increasing awareness, doing a little bit of discovery, because in 2 hours we can do it. Beyond that, I let you know how you can engage me if you also need my help on how and what part of it throughout the year. So I'll share the details. So that's the plan for the 28th December, 11 a.m. Okay, that's what I had for today, and we are in time. Open for any questions, any thoughts, any comments you all would like to share.
Thank you, Chetan. This is a good starter, exploring what you want, and thanks for inviting and sharing this invite.
Thank you, Rajesh. And I think most of you would have got that the prep 2026 10x prep, which I've shared, the Canva. If you've not got, let me know. You can reach out to me and I'll share with you. That's a plan for 21 days. If you've not started, that will bring you more awareness on what is your identity, what are your internal system, what are your external system. So it won't take more than 5 to 10 minutes every day.
I have got it, Chetan. I went through it also. It's very nice. template.
Sure. Thanks, Raghu. Thanks for the feedback also. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day and hope to look you again on Saturday, 28th December, 11 a.m. Bye.